Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever feel a pull to learn something new, to dive into the unknown? That spark is curiosity, and in the world of learning a new language, it might be more important than you think. Today we're diving into a fascinating study titled From Emotions to Achievement, Positioning Language Learning Curiosity in the Nomological Network of Individual Differences. It basically asks, how does our curiosity about learning a foreign language connect with our feelings, our actions, and even our grades? Think about it. When you are learning a new language, you experience a whole bunch of emotions. Sometimes you love it, sometimes it is scary, and sometimes it is just plain boring. This research wanted to see how our curiosity fits into that emotional puzzle and how it all leads to actually learning the language. The researchers started by saying that curiosity is a fundamental human trait, the engine behind a lot of our progress. In education, curiosity is seen as recognizing, embracing, and seeking out new knowledge and experiences. They even mentioned that curious people tend to pay better attention, process information more deeply, and remember it longer. So, naturally, curiosity seems pretty important for learning. But here's the thing, while curiosity has been studied a lot in general learning, its role in learning languages hasn't been explored as much. And that is a shame, because language learning is all about exploring the unknown, right? So, they wanted to fix that gap. Defining curiosity itself can be tricky. It is basically the drive to fill in gaps in our knowledge, to explore what we don't know, and to seek out new information and experiences. They talked about trait curiosity, which is more of a personality thing, and state curiosity, which is more of a temporary feeling. Psychologists like Kashtan have done a lot of work here, breaking it down into dimensions, like stretching exploration, wanting to learn new things and embracing being comfortable with the new and unknown. In the world of second language acquisition, researchers have started to look at language learning curiosity. One idea is that it is an effective cognitive variable, meaning it involves both feelings and thinking that drives our interest in learning and using a foreign language. They even have different types, like feeling of interest, curiosity, which is driven by enjoyment, and feeling of deprivation, curiosity, which is a desire to fill a knowledge gap. Now let's talk about emotions in the language classroom. These are super important. You've got foreign language enjoyment, FLE, which is that good feeling when your needs as a learner are met. The research shows FLE is great for learning. It reduces anxiety, boosts your willingness to talk, and improves grades. On the flip side, you have foreign language anxiety FLA, which no surprise is bad for learning and achievement. And then there is boredom. If language class feels meaningless or too easy or too hard, you get bored, and that is also harmful for learning. The researchers thought that emotions influence curiosity. And curious people, they found, are better at handling anxiety, they have more positive emotions, and they can keep going even when things are tough. Limited research they found also suggested that language curiosity is linked to more positive feelings and less anxiety and boredom. So, their first big guess or hypothesis was that curiosity is connected to these other emotions. They expected curiosity to be friends with enjoyment and kind of at odds with anxiety and boredom. Next, they looked at willingness to communicate, or WTC. This is basically how likely you are to start or join a conversation in the language you are learning. If you have the choice, it is a big deal, because if you are not willing to use the language, you are not going to get much practice. The link between emotions and WTC is a bit messy. We know anxiety really hurts your willingness to speak. Enjoyment seems to help it. Boredom also seems to make you less likely to want to talk. Their second hypothesis was that all these emotions, including curiosity, would predict whether you are willing to communicate. They figured curiosity, especially the stretching exploration kind, would make you take on communication challenges, and the embracing kind would help you accept the uncertainties of speaking. Then came engagement. This is about how actively involved you are in learning. Think of it as giving your best effort, participating in discussions, and really trying to learn from your teacher and classmates. Engagement is active. It is tied to the specific learning environment, and it can change. It is about action and interaction. Emotions heavily influence engagement. Some studies show enjoyment boosts engagement, while anxiety and boredom don't or even hurt it. So, their third idea was that curiosity, just like other emotions, would also be linked to how engaged you are in learning. They thought curiosity would make you want to explore and seek out new information, which naturally leads to more engagement. Finally, the study looked at how WTC and engagement connect to actual academic achievement, your grades. The link between WTC and achievement is a bit debated. Some studies show it helps. Others say it doesn't directly engagement. However, is more consistently seen as a predictor of better academic results. Basically, if you are engaged, you are more likely to do well. And the researchers believe that if you are willing to communicate and engage in learning, you'll likely achieve more in the language. Their last hypothesis was that both willingness to communicate and engagement would predict academic achievement. They put all this together into a big picture model, kind of like a roadmap of how they thought all these pieces, curiosity, emotions, WTC, engagement, and achievement fit together. Now, how did they test this? They gathered data from 345 foreign language learners. Most were studying English. They used surveys to measure all the things we've talked about: their curiosity, enjoyment, anxiety, boredom, willingness to communicate, and engagement. For academic achievement, they asked about their previous grades in English courses. They used specifically designed scales to measure these concepts. For example, the foreign language curiosity scale asked things like, I prefer tasks in the English class that are excitingly unpredictable. The willingness to communicate scale had prompts like, I am willing to give a short self-introduction without notes in English to the class. They used a fancy statistical method called structural equation modeling to look at all these relationships at once. It's like trying to see the whole forest, not just individual trees. So, what did they find? Well, their first hypothesis was strongly supported. Curiosity was indeed strongly linked to enjoyment, and it was negatively linked to anxiety and boredom. This means curiosity really is a positive emotion. The results showed that curiosity was a good friend to enjoyment and kind of kept its distance from anxiety and boredom, just as they predicted. For their second hypothesis about willingness to communicate, they found partial support. Most emotions predicted WTC, but surprisingly, boredom didn't have a significant effect here. The researchers guessed that maybe a bored student might still speak if called upon, but they're not exactly excited about it. But crucially, curiosity was a significant positive predictor of WTC. That means if you are more curious, you are more likely to want to use the language. Their third hypothesis about engagement also got partial support. Only the positive emotions, curiosity, and enjoyment significantly predicted engagement. Anxiety was borderline significant, but boredom didn't make the cut. This suggests that positive feelings really energize us to get involved in learning. And finally, their fourth hypothesis was fully supported. Both willingness to communicate and engagement were significant predictors of academic achievement. Engagement had a larger predicted effect, but WTC still played a role. This confirms that if you are willing to use the language and actively engage in learning, you are on track for better grades. So, the big picture is this: positive emotions like curiosity and enjoyment seem to fuel engagement and the willingness to use the language, and these in turn lead to better academic results. It is like a domino effect, but a positive one. The researchers concluded that curiosity isn't just a little extra thing. It is actually a central part of the emotional experience of learning a foreign language. It acts as a positive emotion amplifier and a buffer against negative feelings. They really emphasize that their findings highlight the need to actively cultivate curiosity in language classrooms. Now, like all research, this study has some limitations. The participants were from different cultural backgrounds, which is good for generalizability, but might hide some cultural differences. They also simplified some complex measures like enjoyment and engagement for the analysis, which can sometimes hide details. They had to tweak one of the anxiety questions because it wasn't really working well. And importantly, this was a snapshot in time, a cross-sectional study, so they can't definitively say one thing caused another. It is more of a these things are related kind of finding. Despite those limitations, the study makes a strong case for curiosity being a key player in language learning. It is not just about liking the subject, it's about actively wanting to explore it, which then drives you to engage more and use the language. What does this mean for us? Well, if you are learning a language, try to tap into that curiosity. Ask questions, explore cultural sides. Notes, try different ways of learning. If you are a teacher, think about how you can spark that I want to know more feeling in your students. Make the learning surprising, challenging in a good way, and relevant. This research really pushes us to think beyond just getting rid of negative emotions like anxiety. It tells us we should actively build up the positive ones, especially curiosity, as a powerful tool for success in language learning. It suggests that the journey of learning a language is as much about the feeling of discovery as it is about mastering grammar rules. This study is a great starting point, and the researchers rightly call for more research to really embed curiosity in our understanding of how people learn languages. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful learning happens when we're driven by a simple yet profound desire to know. So, what do you think? Have you experienced this positive link between curiosity and your own language learning? Let me know in the comments below if you found this breakdown helpful. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more science simplified, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration. Until next time, stay curious.